Harry Styles is back. That is fun to say. He's got a new album coming out in March. It's called Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally. And he has just dropped a new single called Aperture. It's fantastic. And I am so happy to announce he is here to talk about it all with me now. Welcome, Harry Styles. It's good to see you again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. The lead-off single, Aperture,
Hmm.
I'm going to get into this in a different way than I think most
Okay.
people will. It's 5 minutes and 32 seconds.
Yes.
That, in and of itself, in 2026, is it not an act of subtle defiance? To have, I mean, is that something you're thinking about? Are you thinking a little bit about defying some certain laws of cultural physics right now?
I actually think what I really like about the song is that it was actually really just about being true to the song.
Yeah,
I think when we were in the studio, it was like, what is the best version of this song? And there was like, we try not to be aware of that stuff so much in there, and we don't like pick what's going to go
yeah,
first or anything until when the album's finished. So it's not like when you're making something that's longer, you know that it's longer. But to me, it was like each part of the song
yeah.
is important to the reason
You're right.
why it is what it is.
You're
So
right.
there was those parts where it was like, do we take this out? And it was just like, no, this is the best version of the song.
I
So
believe it. And the song,
yeah.
and thinking about defiance,
Mm,
um, the top line of the song, the melody, the lyrics are
mhm,
very melodic musical pop. And then you have what I think is this kind of sense of mystery that you're creating by the bass line
mhm,
staying still kind of the whole time. Is that
mhm,
something you had in mind to not be so pretty, knowing you could
mhm,
have been and had the bass line follow everything around? Is that
mhm.
deliberate to keep a kind of a steady pulse of that bass going the whole time to create that tension?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to like have a song where the releases isn't coming
Yeah.
from, the like moments of euphoria aren't coming from like, well, we did this chord change and
Yes.
then we did this thing, and I think that's really powerful, actually. I think it's like it's not it's not a lot of the time you have the same chords going around, it can feel very static, and I think the emotion and where the vocal is moving and what the melodies are doing is what kind of brings those moments of release. And then I think also there's a kind of aspect of like the like meditative
Hmm.
side of the song, which is what I wanted it to feel like. I wanted it to be like a trance,
I
which
was
I
just going to
think
say,
is part of it that makes it not feel 5 minutes
yes,
long, you know?
it feels like it is meant to be listened to, or maybe represents the feeling you have when you're at a club and
Yeah.
you are at the peak of whatever feeling you're going for and you're there,
Hmm.
and it does hold as kind of this hypnotic thing. Have
Yeah.
you tested it? I mean, you wrote this song for what I believe is going to be find a lot of use cases, but one of them is like kind of standing in a place where the lights are going, and for a minute
Hmm.
you're just forgetting everything and just having this feeling. What's the closest you've come to road testing the song? Have you had people come? Have you played it in a club? Have you had a bunch of people over? How have you? What's the closest you've come to that feeling?
Yeah, I had a lot of people over and have been playing it, and we've had like people in the studio and playing it. I think every other record that I've made, I've always felt really guarded about who's hearing it.
Yeah.
And it's always felt, no one hears it until it's finished and stuff like that. And I think realizing that that made the music feel like a product is something that I wanted to reverse. Um, so to me, this album was much more open in the process of like I was playing demos to friends, and I'd be with friends and put it on and be like, what do you think of this? And it just became really obvious that it was music that was meant to be played
Great.
loud. That is when it feels its best. And then, in total contrast to that, I love like sitting with it in headphones and like having my own experience with it as well. So I hope that people will kind of road test it in a couple different ways,
Yeah.
and see how their own experience kind of shifts.
And how long has the song been done, and what's it been like for you to know the song is what it is and it's
Hmm.
fantastic? How do you do when it comes to waiting to release something that's done? How long has the song been done for, and how exciting is this now to have it out? And what's it like in between those 2 points for you?
Well, I finished the album at the end of the summer of end of last summer. I finished this song um in like the end of June, I think. And it's definitely like it felt really nice to just be like, we're gonna work on this till it's like finished and
Mm,
ready, and that's when we'll talk about when we're gonna put it out. We're not gonna kind of put the cart before the
great.
horse. And then there was a couple songs floating around that we thought about kind of going with first. And I think Aperture's it's track one on the album. It was the last song that was made for the record. It was kind of when we were at our most free, I
Mm,
think, making music, and was just like, this is the first song that I play to people when I show them what the new music sounds like, that it just felt like the obvious ended up feeling like the obvious choice of what should come first. I think the idea of opening up
yeah,
and kind of being the doorway into
yeah.
that kind of transition felt like that's what I wanted to communicate. I think, like, as you know, there's nothing better as a musician than putting work out that you feel in line
100,
with,
yes.
like, as you're kind of as you're going through things in your life, you're like, this song that I'm putting out right now still represents
Hmm.
me where I'm at. I think, a lot of the time you make a song, and by the time it's finished and
I
by the
know.
time you're putting it out, you've kind of like moved on emotionally slightly
Yeah.
from what you're putting on, and that just makes some natural disconnection.
So right
And I
now,
think,
it's all lined up for you, and it's going to stay lined up. You think you get the feeling it's going to represent you when you head out on the road in May,
yeah, I
and
do.
yeah,
Yeah, I think the last 2 years for me, the most important thing was about being on the other side of the audience experience. So, like, spending so much time on stage, it's really easy to forget what it feels like to be
yeah.
in the middle of a crowd and dancing and singing with strangers. And that's what I've been doing the last couple of
Do you
years.
wear a
And I think
disguise, or do you just go into the crowd and
just
just
get in there. I mean,
yeah,
if it's dark enough and it's loud enough, everyone's there for the same
yeah?
reason,
Everyone's looking a different
So
direction. Yeah,
yeah, so it's it was largely about having that reminder of like this feeling of being in the audience and what this means to people is so magical.
yeah.
And that's what I wanted. That's the music that I wanted to make. I wanted it to feel like it was made from the dance floor.
So do you think a lot in your life as you move forward through your career, then about not losing touch? It's
Hmm.
about not losing touch. It's about not being in a vacuum, putting a record out and finding out once you go on the road and you start playing it,
Yeah.
you go, uh-oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think naturally, like, there's a lot of, especially if you're like a touring musician, I think it's, your life slowly becomes
I know.
more isolated.
Yeah.
The corners just start coming in,
Yes.
whether it's the people you trust or, your friendship circles get slightly smaller
Mm.
over time, just as people's do when they grow up. And I think for me, the last kind of couple years, but year in particular, was just about like opening back up
Yeah.
and going, when you do that and you close yourself off to some negative things,
Mm,
you have
mm.
to accept that you're also closing off to a lot of positive
Yeah,
things. So
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing you
yeah.
just said. I believe that you live your life with such heart and soul that even if there's a photograph of you going for a run, and I have never thought this until right now, you make, and I'm going to say it, forgive me, you make paparazzi pictures look dumb. You make the photographer look dumb because you're living such a true life. I've never seen
Uh,
anybody really do it. You're just going on a run and you live so
uh,
honestly that weirdly, the guy taking the picture looks dumb. And you're like, yeah, Harry's living a real life. So that's another kind of act of defiance is
uh,
I'm going to avail myself to the things that may
hmm
be uncomfortable in the moment, but the biggest dedication I have is to the music. And this is the
hmm
payoff now we're talking about the album coming out, and here it is. And you made it with Kid Harpoon,
Yes.
who I love, and
Yeah.
you made your last album with him, and we all
Yeah.
know how well that
The
did. It
best.
sounds like a bad thing. Well, we all know how well that went. It went very well. It
Yeah,
sounded
totally.
sarcastic. When you go
Given
into
your
work,
history,
I know.
surprised you
Given,
did
yeah,
that again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it ain't broke. Um,
No,
uh,
thanks.
do you go in with songs, or do you both just work on stuff together and then you get a feeling and you go in behind the microphone and you just start intimating things and channeling things?
Yeah, I think a lot of this process was really nice for me because I wrote, or at least started to write, a lot of stuff at home. So
Mm,
it was a lot of like having enough space to just let things happen. I
yeah.
didn't feel like we're in the studio, we're on the clock, we're chasing something. There's a combination of like things that I'd written at home and taken in, and then Tom had been experimenting a lot with modular synth stuff,
Mhm.
and we were kind of enjoying that together at the same time. So Aperture was me coming in to the room after being like recording something else, and I came in and he had like part of the track going, and it was like leave that running and then writing the song over the top.
And when you say you're writing
Um,
it at home, do you have a computer and
yeah.
you're working on multi-track stuff, or are you just talking about on your phone? How are you recording these things, whether they're just words or?
Yeah, basically I like write, I mostly write on piano and I'll
Mm,
do like just voice notes, and then most of the time I'll do like GarageBand sketches,
yeah.
to be honest, because
And,
there's something to them that feels like, oh, you can hear what the essence of the song is, and then you work out the rest later,
yes.
you know.
And you don't get stuck in
Yeah,
I/O settings and preferences and
right.
hardware buffer
Yeah,
size. It's just about
yeah,
recording the tune. So, are you a
yeah.
writer? Do you live the life of a writer all the time, or do you turn the writer brain on to make records? Because
Well,
I'm not a writer. I don't walk around and write. I just
yeah.
get back. I get the download again. I go, it's time to write.
Yeah, I think I used to be really labor focused when it came to art, and
Hmm.
my opinion has changed a lot. I think, you know, I used to walk into a gallery and be like, well, how long has that taken? That's just a square with a thing on it. Like I could have done that. And I used to feel that way about writing music. I think I used to feel like I have to be in the studio for this set amount of time and cranking and doing these things. And I think like a lot of things, it's important to go like, I'm not feeling something.
Yep.
You know, I know people who write a song a day and do that thing. And I think I've kind of shifted a bit to, okay, if I spend 2 weeks like just living my life and then I write a song in a couple weeks and a song
Yes.
happens, I'm like, oh, this was the last couple weeks of my life
I
that,
think more people need to know that.
you
Uh,
know,
um, yes, the grind does not really apply to writing sometimes, and I have found
yeah.
also that you have to just relax your brain. You've gone too
Yeah, and
far when
there's
you're looking around, going, "Is that one? Is that a song? Is that a song?" And
yeah.
then you run your
And
brain
and
out.
and there's some like most of the songs, especially the ones that end up on the albums, to me are the ones that end up feeling like they write themselves.
Yeah.
And I think when you listen back to them, you're actually learning something about yourself because you're discovering it as you're writing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you're kind of listening back and you're like, oh, oh, I do feel that way. I didn't, you know, it's kind of just happening. So it's kind of like it's just coming through you. And I saw it described once in a way that I like. There's obviously benefit to like practicing, right?
Hmm.
The difference between practicing and grinding, but it's like if you never learn to if you never practice getting up on a surfboard, you're not going to be able to ride the wave.
Yeah.
But and sometimes you'll practice, but there won't be any waves. But if you practice, then when the wave
Yes.
comes, you're able to ride it. I
Yeah. You
think
get
that's the important distinction. It's not about grinding, but it's about like making space to be prepared to
yes.
like capture something when it
Being
comes.
ready so that when the trance comes, you say,
Yeah.
cancel everything. We're staying
Yeah.
here till 2 in the morning, whatever it takes, because whatever we do in the next 4, 6, 8, 12 hours is going to last me forever. And it sounds like
Yeah.
this makes me more excited than ever to hear an album because it sounds like the whole thing is really, really tied into a real true life experience. You're going to hit the road. You're going to play a bunch of shows.
Yeah.
You're going to obviously hit us with a brand new aesthetic, which I can't wait to see. So you have all of this is going in at the same time, right? You're putting the visuals together, you're putting the music together, and then you're also probably putting the tour together as we speak.
Yeah.
And you'll be reframing some of the music based on a different arrangement of musicians on stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be I think I went to a couple shows where I was kind of watching people on stage and I was like, that feeling of how immersed they are in the music is how I want to feel when I'm on stage.
Right.
So I think knowing that the show is best when I'm having the most
Yes.
fun
Couldn't agree more.
is kind of the lead to the kind of intention of like, I want to make the show that means I can have the most fun, and that will therefore make the show better, in
The
my opinion.
the world more than ever needs your brand of fun. And I can't wait to
I
join the
appreciate
party
that.
with everyone else and see what everyone's saying about the song. I love the song. I just
Thank you
think the
so
world is
much.
better when you're around, Harry. I really
I
do.
appreciate that.
The world's
I'm
just better.
around. I'm just not always on the
Well,
radio.
that's what I mean. I mean, Harry, the
Yeah,
musical spirit. I know you're always,
I
I know you're
appreciate
always
it.
walking around, but when you have new things to share, it's always really artful. It's always full of love, and the world needs it more than ever. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your schedule to
Thank
talk
you
to
so
me.
much. I appreciate you having
Thank
me
you.
on, John.
Yeah, I'll
Thanks for
see you out
doing
there on the
this.
road.
Yeah.
He's Harry
Yes, sir.
Styles. It's called Aperture. It's brilliant. Check it out. The album is coming. It is called Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally. Last question. Are you going to be very strict about the punctuation in the album title? Will you be upset if a period isn't there, if a comma is missing?
It's a very important comma.
Yes, it is. It's a
Yeah.
very
It's
important
a
comma.
very important comma. I think it's like the comma is
It
correct.
becomes conversational. So journalists everywhere, please, please be mindful of the
Yeah.
punctuation. Harry,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you
Congrats
so
on the
much.
single, and I can't wait to hear the whole album.
Thanks, John.
Thanks. See you soon.